With the release of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 9, which we can currently read on Viz Media's Shonen Jump app and Shueisha's Manga Plus app for free to support the official release, there was a pretty interesting moment in the chapter that stood out when I first got my hands on the spoilers a few days ago, and that was Boruto's offer to have Kawaki join forces with him, and how quickly Kawaki shot down the possibility of working with Boruto without even so much as considering it, which is why in today's newest Naruto Explained video, I want to discuss why I believe not only that Kawaki's making a giant mistake, but he's also behaving like a coward, and his actions should change the way you view Kawaki's character, and also why his pride is being set up to have him taken down in the future because he has made a gross miscalculation. Now, for clarification, this is not the chapter review. My editor, who does the chapter reviews of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex and most of the chapter reviews over on KRYPTONIAN SAIYAN, is still working on that review, which it should be 24 to 25 minutes in length depending on how he edits, and we're hoping to get it out tomorrow because the early release this month makes it harder to maintain the quality you guys have seen with the Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter reviews that we've gotten and still release the review on the day of the official release. So I thank you guys for your patience. Again, it should be out tomorrow. So looking back at the chapter, that moment where Boruto told Kawaki that they needed to team up to protect the village from the larger threat is going to be what I feel is a major trigger point for the story when everything's all said and done. For those of you guys who haven't heard me use that term before, it's a moment in the timeline where one decision can be made that takes the story down a series of different paths of unintended, unexpected consequences that change things for better or for worse, which oftentimes ends up serving as material for a lot of what if scenarios. Like for instance, a trigger point being, what if Sasuke never knew the truth about Itachi? A video I made on my first channel 7 years ago that is now private because I've rebranded KRYPTONIAN SAIYAN. The moment that we have here with Kawaki, it feels like when we look back at it, it's going to be a moment where we say so much could have been avoided had Kawaki agreed to work with Boruto. On one hand, I do understand why he took the stance that he did for a couple of reasons that I believe played a role in him acting in the way that he did. The first is that he still does view Boruto as being a threat because Boruto lost his trust near the end of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. He asked Boruto specifically if Momoshiki was there, and Boruto lied to Kawaki, someone who Kawaki viewed like a brother, and so by lying it raised red flags for him because Kawaki asked a question he already knew the answer to, but he wanted to see if Boruto would lie to him, which as we know, Boruto lied to him, and that only added more fuel for his actions moving forward. Boruto still has Momoshiki's soul attached to his body, and due to the method that Momoshiki used to revive Boruto by converting the remaining 20% of Momoshiki's genetics to rebuild Boruto's organs, but it resulted in them having an unprecedented territory being entered into that not even the Walking Otsuki Wikipedia Amato was able to give a solid answer for Boruto outside of, hey, continue to take these drugs to suppress Momoshiki from hijacking your body. And Momoshiki quite literally said himself that this was brand new to him and it was annoying because their thoughts, they were beginning to converge, and this was a moment where nobody knew how it would end up. Kawaki, he had the right idea. Boruto, he was a threat. He should have viewed Boruto like a threat because that Momoshiki factor, it was still a true concern. Kawaki sees how strong Boruto is right now, how easily Boruto took down Code with only his base, so it would make sense he is totally apprehensive because of the Momoshiki problem. But I want to take it a step further and I want to get into the heart of this video. And Kawaki fans, I'm going to be completely unbiased here, but I'm also going to call it down the middle for you. He's acting like a coward. And I think that there is potentially a second reason that is fueling Kawaki right now. And it's one that if this is indeed the case, say I'm right, then this makes Kawaki's fall from grace that we've been watching it hit so much harder, and it adds so many layers to his character in a good way because he's continuing to step over the morally gray lines that he's already covered. Are we in a situation where Kawaki is trying to pull a coward move by putting on a performance for the sensory unit? I don't think we can rule that out. And again, I think this adds layers to Kawaki's character. Right now at this point in the story, you're either supposed to be conflicted on Kawaki because you're rooting for Boruto, but you know that Kawaki's right, or you're supposed to hate Kawaki. And based on what I've seen, a majority of the fandom, they fall into those two categories. Now, I bring all that up to say this. He's already had Sarada suggest to Shikamaru, hey, Konoha, they should be working with Boruto to defend the village against Code. Boruto's not a bad guy, and he knows that Sarada has been running around for the last 3 years defending Boruto's name and honor. Shikamaru even went as far as to speak to the elders, and he was seemingly testing the waters about this possibility because he was the one who pointed out that Boruto defended the village against Code, but the elders, being as stuck in their ways as they are because they come from that Hiruzen era, they were dead set on having Boruto eliminated. People potentially having that mentality towards Boruto, it works all to Kawaki's favor. It makes it a lot easier to have Boruto killed, and that's Kawaki's goal. Naruto's goal was to be Hokage. Kawaki's goal is to have Boruto killed so he can protect Naruto. He knows Boruto won't ever use full power against Konoha Shinobi, even when they're trying to kill him. He knows Boruto's going to run himself ragged by being on the defensive and waste chakra as a result, and as we see in the chapter, he was shown trying to catch his breath and recover after all these back-to-back fights. And as a result of this, Kawaki has been hoping, hey, if I can frame Boruto for more chaos, all I need is one moment to kill Boruto, because you just need that one off-guard kill. You don't have to be stronger than someone to kill them. You just have to catch them at the right moment when their guard is lowered or when their attention is diverted elsewhere to pull off that killing attack. Not even Otsutsuki are immune to something like this. It happened with Ishiki with Kaguya, and had Mitsuki wanted to, he could have killed Kawaki. In the panel right before Kawaki confronts Boruto, he's quite literally speaking to the sensory unit, letting them know that he's got eyes on Boruto, and he quickly made it a point to say that Boruto was aligned with the two Shinju who attacked the village. He even calls them his friends. Those are very pointed and emotionally charged words when you look at the language. Why would he do that? Because Boruto returning is throwing a wrench into his plans, because it has people questioning, hey, why would the Hokage killer suddenly feel the need to protect the village? He has no attachments. Naruto's dead. So why is he doing this? Kawaki has been trying to cover up his life for the last 3 years, and as we saw when Omnipotence was casted, while that in itself wasn't intentional, it was an accident, everything after that was very intentional. The moment he realized what happened, he framed Boruto for the murders of Naruto and Hinata, and there was no remorse for it. Kawaki can act rashly, and he can do some morally great things, but one thing that he isn't is not a moron. He is still very much very calculated. It's exactly why Ada said that she was disgusted with Kawaki in Boruto Naruto Next Generations in chapter 80, which is she said that Kawaki was, quote, acting like a coward. And basically, to paraphrase, she basically implied it was something she found very unattractive, and for someone as fickle as Ada, that is a problem. The boy who turned her on for being brave and clever when he stood up against Ishiki was now turning her off by being a coward. He's once again, one chapter after Ada was shown wavering and thinking about Boruto, saying she wanted to meet Boruto after she got asked by Mitsuki in the correct translation. The official translation screwed it up. Covered that in a whole video for you guys, where Mitsuki in Japanese asked, why does Ada love Kawaki? Does she even know why she loves Kawaki? Well, we now see Kawaki acting like a coward here, doing the very thing that Ada said turned her off about Kawaki. Right now we see him planting the seeds of the sensory unit inside of their heads by saying, hey, those guys Boruto, they're your friends, aren't they? This isn't Kawaki being paranoid. He knows that those are Shinju that want to eat both he and Boruto. They don't really care which one they eat. Either one will produce a chakra fruit. They're in the same boat in that regard, and Kawaki knows it, but he is posturing to maintain his lie. Damon's words about the Shinju coming to Konoha and asking questions about Naruto and how it will blow up that 3-year lie that Kawaki's been telling the entire village, is clearly on his mind. It's got him spooked, and he is already trying to do damage control. Notice how when Kawaki makes it a point to say Boruto was standing there right where the Jonin were murdered and that Boruto's chakra's been erased, he's once again trying to paint Boruto as being the bad guy, as being the murderer. He is taking all of that goodwill that Boruto has recently raised and all the doubts that Boruto has raised in the hearts and minds of Konoha shinobi everywhere, and he is erasing them very poetically with the blood of the comrades of the sensory unit who were killed. He's repeating the same thing he did at the end of part 1. This time he has literal bodies to show for it, and he's getting more bodies credited to Boruto's kill list because he understands a basic human principle, which is if you can get people to react based off of emotion, then you can control them. You get their attention and then you can control them afterwards. He has already been suspicious of the sensory unit having a mole in their ranks who was working with Boruto, while we as the audience know that at the same time Kawaki's concern was unfounded because Boruto hadn't yet made contact with Shikamaru and Ino yet. That has changed since then, and we could be seeing Kawaki attempting to flush the mole out of hiding by helping Boruto. It's not by mistake that so soon afterwards that we learn that the sensory unit keeps a transmission log, and that there are more details about how the mind transmission jutsu works that we didn't know prior to this, at least in manga format, that now all of a sudden we see Kawaki starting to plant seeds to make Boruto look like he killed Konoha shinobi. Whoever doesn't react in the appropriate way will get immediately on Kawaki's radar, particularly if they try to delay any action against Boruto, because he's seen it firsthand for the last 3 years how bloodlusted so many of the people are for Boruto to pay for the crimes of killing Naruto and Hinata. It's what Shikamaru told Sarada in the Hokage office. Hey, this is the will of Konoha. And the elders told the same thing to Shikamaru. Crimes that Boruto, we know as the audience that he is innocent of, but here's the thing, again, it's dramatic irony. The people in the universe, they don't know that Kawaki framed Boruto. They don't know that Naruto's alive, but we know. Again, dramatic irony. And what you're seeing Kawaki do is potentially only someone who knows the truth inside the sensory unit or someone who is helping Boruto. In Kawaki's mind, those would be the only people trying to delay him, and that's what Kawaki's trying to flush out currently. It's easy to just say that Kawaki is 100% with killing Boruto, and I agree. He is locked in on Boruto a bit too hard. Like, he is really focused in on the guy. I even made a joke about it in my review that the editor is working on, about how there's a new challenger who popped up like you see in the video games, where a new challenger appears and you think that you cleared the fight of the floor. Hopefully the editor catches that and we get a meme joke in that. If he didn't, then I'll make sure to convey that better next time. However, here's the thing, that's definitely a driving factor for Kawaki. But his behavior, stressing Boruto's location, attaching him to the Shinju having killed the dead Konoha shinobi, placing Boruto at the scene of the murder of those dead Konoha shinobi, and basically saying, hey, those are your friends, aren't they, Boruto? Anything that those Shinju do after he makes this statement, Boruto's going to get the blame for it. It feels like a deliberate, multi-purpose set of bait to get more heat on Boruto, which I love as a reader, and to lure out what Kawaki has already told us. He said he suspects is that there is a Konoha sensory ninja aiding Boruto. Now, again, we as the audience, we all know that it's in Kawaki's best interest to work with Boruto, and if anything, a lot of you guys, you're probably still holding out hope that these two brothers, they can stop their pissing contest long enough to work together. And if Kawaki can't do that, should that decision of stubbornness and cowardice lead to another loss of life or another major development with the Shinju, it's going to lead to a moment where we all look back at this scene a year from now, 2 years from now, or 4 or 5 years from now when Boruto's manga ends, and we all say, hey, this could have been prevented. While the chapter review likely won't be out until tomorrow, I got you guys covered if you're confused about why Boruto's scared of his coma seal.